this is James Holder for IFL in association with Max Jim Marbella. With me I've got Chris McKenna. I've got to say, fantastic for you to come out and join the travelling contingent and spend a bit of money getting involved. It's good to see, mate. How are you?
Very good, mate, very good. Enjoying Las Vegas as always, so
indeed,
it's all good.
You look a bit suave today. You sort of old school journalist, fight night. You're always going to turn up in the whistle, aren't you?
It's a big night in Las Vegas. You've got to turn up in a whistle. Why wouldn't you? Well,
right.
You haven't dressed well. That's the problem.
We don't wear whistles at IFL TV. It's like, unless we're going to a wedding.
You should smarten up. You should smarten up.
I don't think our viewers would recognise us if we turned up in a suit. They'd be like, what the hell is going on here? What's happening? Everything good?
All good, mate. All good. Looking forward to some good fights.
Indeed. Mayweather vs Berto. We're here. It's big. It's the big fight night. The anticipation is almost upon us. Talk to me a little bit about the fight, please, mate.
Well, there's been a bit of lack of anticipation around Vegas this week. I think it's been not that much interest yet, but whether that's going to change today, there seems to be a bit more buzz around the MGM. It's going to be an easy win for Mayweather unless something mental happens, so that's why people are not that interested in it, because everybody wants him to lose. So when they know he's definitely not going to lose unless something outrageous happens, nobody's going to buy into it as much. So I think it's going to be one of those where he just dominates the fight. It's either going to be a late stoppage or points win. It's not going to be an early or shocking like that. So,
do you think we're wrong to write Berto off before he comes into this fight? I mean, no one's given him a chance. He said there's only two men in the ring. Floyd is human, as I said, for all his greatness. He is only a man. Do you think it's wrong for us and the media just to dismiss Berto like that?
I think we might have been a bit too harsh, because at the end of the day, he's a two-time world champion. But if you look at the people he's beaten since, even just watched Ashley Theophane beat Steve Upshur Chambers, and that's Berto's second last fight before this, which Theophane's one judge gave it every round to him. So you've got to look at it. That's the guy that Berto was one of the guys that built him into this fight. And Ashley Theophane, who's a good fighter, but he's not Mayweather level, and somehow Berto's in this fight. So.
A couple of years ago, Berto obviously was looked at as a potential Mayweather opponent, but he's, as you said, he's had ups and downs and trials and tribulations in his career. But do you think it's right that he got a shot at Mayweather for his last fight? Do you think he was deserving of getting the shot?
Well, it's hard to say deserving, because who was more deserving? Because there's nobody really there at the minute, unless you go something like a Canelo rematch was never going to happen. Amir Khan was the one, but as Mayweather has pointed out, Amir Khan's lost 3 fights too. So he's not been in a world title fight for a couple of years, 3 years I think. So why did he deserve it more? I mean, people in Britain, and we all wanted it because it would have been great for us, and the interest would have been huge in Britain, and all that would have been brilliant, and maybe there would have been more interest here. But at the end of the day, there's not much difference between the two at the moment anyway. I think Amir Khan's a better fighter, but in terms of records and that, not a whole lot of difference.
But obviously, Amir Khan's last defeat to Lamont Peterson, obviously there will obviously be a cloud, if you like, over that decision.
Yeah, there was a cloud over that, so maybe that's unfair, but he did get knocked out by Danny Garcia, and he's had some bad defeats, so Amir Khan would beat Andre Berto every day, I think, but why Amir Khan over Berto? I think if he had had a world title, if he had had a bigger last few fights, if he had been a bit more active in the last few years, then maybe he would have got it. I think he spent too much time chasing Mayweather, and he set his own career back.
Do you think, like the comments that Floyd Mayweather Sr. made regarding the Khans, that he would never, quote, put money into the Khans' pocket, they will never get a cent from the Mayweathers? Do you read a lot into that? And as a man of the media, have you heard these sort of stories in the past?
You've heard them. I mean, I've not got any facts on it, but there does seem to be a feeling that Mayweather is not happy with Khan and the camp, and I think that seems to stem from when Khan announced that he'd signed a contract to fight him before the first Maidana fight, which, as everybody knows, Mayweather hates that. He controls everything.
He likes to make every announcement.
He makes the announcement on his Twitter and his Shots app. Yes. He wants to do all that. So it's a bit, maybe that upset him that Khan was speaking so publicly, and Khan's always talking about him. Whereas if you look Andre Berto, when he was rumoured to be in for the fight, he never even mentioned it. I think they released a 2-line statement at one point just to say he was keen if it happens, but he wasn't going to the media and bigging the fight up. He was just happy to wait, and that's what Mayweather wants. He doesn't want to be bullied into taking a fight. He'll take a fight when he wants to take it.
Let's talk a little bit about Hammersmith man George Groves. As we said, he's bidding to become WBC world champion. It's a massive fight for George. he's favourite for this. He's been in those massive nights before. In your opinion, do you think George Groves today can be victorious?
I think he will be victorious. I think he's got everything that beats Jack. As Paddy Fitzpatrick said the other day, everything that Jack can do, Groves can do better. The one thing I doubt is the big stage, and he's got to deliver. There's a lot of pressure on him, not as much as maybe the Carl Froch rematch, but there is a lot of pressure because if he lost the third world title fight, there mightn't be any coming back, and I don't think he's going to get an easier world title fight than Badou Jack at the minute with the other champions around and stuff. Maybe Arthur Abraham might be easier, possibly not. He's probably on a par with him, so it's maybe not an easier world title fight at the minute for him. So that's a lot of pressure in itself he's got to deliver.
I know he's been chasing this fight for a long time. When Sakio Bika had the belt, he was rumoured to be chasing him, so he's worked hard to get himself into that #1 spot, hasn't he?
He has. He worked hard. He's rebuilt himself. People have criticised him for the 2 performances since Froch, and maybe he hasn't looked brilliant, but he's won them. He won. He got mandatory, so he deserves the shot. He more than deserves it. So hopefully he can come out on top, and we can have another British world champion.
I think people were a little bit harsh on his last fights. I said Mama's boy. I thought that was a good win for him. Christopher Rebrassi, with Callum Smith, you saw actually how tough Rebrassi is, and George was loading up on him. He controlled the fight. He didn't look sort of. I know he made maybe hard work of it in some people's eyes, but I think time has shown Rebrassi to be a better opponent than we initially may have given credit for.
Exactly. When Groves fought him, most people in the UK, unless they were proper boxing nuts, didn't know who he was really. So when he came over, they were just expecting Groves, who had been in such a big fight before, to knock him out in 2-3 rounds or something like that. But as you say, since he's gone on, he's shown how durable he is. Groves threw 1,000 punches that night, couldn't get him out. Callum Smith couldn't get him out. He was tough that night as well. So I think, everybody was a bit harsh in that. Dennis Douglin, I thought maybe he should have done better that night. He got hit a bit too much. But at the end of the day, he maybe took that a late note, not a lot of notice. He just wanted to keep busy at the time. He thought he might have been getting this shot earlier, so it was kind of maybe didn't get up for that as much as he usually would have. So that one is maybe, but he deserves his world title shot, and I think he'll come out on top.
Any interesting Carl Froch quotes this week come to light? Anything that you can let us know what's been said?
Yeah, he's claimed that Groves is tarnished by his defeat and all that, but Carl's got his opinion, and he'll never like George, and he said that even after they fought when he knocked him out. Most people will go, oh well, we've settled it now, but Froch kind of said that, but he says I will never like him. So we know Carl's not going to give George credit. Well, maybe if George wins a world title, maybe he will. As Groves says, the only way he can prove Carl wrong is by winning tonight.
Listen, if he does win, it could potentially set up some massive nights for the UK, because the super middleweights, the 168, is such a good division for us, isn't it?
We've got the De Gale rematch, which would be huge in the UK, especially if they have another fight in between and build the rivalry back up. I mean, when you're on that Liverpool card, there was a bit of after at the weigh-ins and all that. That's bubbling over. You're going to have Martin Murray there, you might get a shot at Abraham, and then you've got Callum Smith and Rocky Phelan, 2 really good young guys coming up, and the winner of that is going to want Groves if Groves is WBC champion. So it'll be up to Eddie Hearn and the Sauerlands what way they want to take that, and what way Sauerlands go. Do they go after De Gale? Do they go after an easier defence where they want to take George? I think they want to go to the UK if they get this and have a big homecoming. So
I think they like the look of the Abraham fight as well. Get that feeling. It sort of
that'd be a good unification fight. Have 2 belts, and he'd have something over De Gale when if they ever went into negotiations for that. They can say, well, we've got 2 belts, we've got a bit more strength in it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Serious question now. Who's looking after your horse while you're here? I mean, you've eaten a lot as well for your weight. I'm really concerned that when you get back, you will not be as fast as you once was on your horse. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Well, I don't know when the weigh-in is for the 250 in an Aintree, but I'm sure I'll be all right.
Listen, I said don't weight is a hard thing, as you know, to take off. So once you've let yourself go, as you have been doing, there's been rumours and all sorts flying about that you've been living the dream out here, you know.
I've been eating healthy all the time. I had a good, healthy, cheesy chip breakfast this morning. It was good.
How many times have you been ID'd at here since you've been out? That's what I want to know. Is it over 10?
I would say in pretty much every single bar. I got ID'd to buy Diet Coke this morning in the bar, so it's It's a good moisturiser as I use, so I look young.
Indeed.
I think you're just jealous, Halder.
I am jealous.
Yeah.
I look about 48.
Yeah.
This is a problem that I've had for a long time.
Well, if we're going to start digging up what you've been getting up to this week in Las Vegas, then we could be in trouble.
Listen, no, don't tarnish me with your brush. You and the in-betweeners have been absolutely causing havoc out here. I said, we know where your regular bar is as well, so let's just leave that one at that.
Yeah, you've been leading us astray, that's the problem. You've been leading us out. We were going to stay in all week, but you're here and it's mayhem.
I'll bet. Well, listen, thank you for giving me a bit of time today, mate.
No
I do
problem,
appreciate it.
mate.
And well done for coming out and travelling and spending a bit of your company's money getting involved. That's what we like to see. We really do. Cheers, mate.